welcome to the 2020 Back Pocket Awards for Excellence in Video Games. From now until the end of the year, we're going to be dropping a video a day.
Somewhat daily.
Business day, every business day.
Just about, except we'll be dropping one probably on Christmas Day, which technically wouldn't be a business day. It would be
I used to work on Christmas
and also
Day
Boxing
in cinema,
Day.
so that was a business day for me.
Okay, but it's
Yeah.
not a technical business day.
But we're not working on a business day. We're going to be releasing content that we've created prior.
Which you're watching soon.
Hopefully at work at your lunch break on Christmas Day. So we're going to be dropping a video every whatever amount of days until the end of the year, and we run out of categories for awards for video games in 2020. Let's kick it off with our first category, and that is the It's 3 a.m. Time Sink of the Year category. This is the game that we put either the most time into, or we put the most time into that we weren't expecting to put a time into, or we put the most amount of time in a condensed time into. It's basically like when you look back at 2020, you go, wow, that was a real time sink. That's the game that we're looking at.
I like that you did a bit of acting.
I was going to say, can all future award categories have pantomime as well,
Yeah,
as they're described?
A method,
What is the time?
A method approach to the title of the award. It's 3 a.m.
That is how dramatic I get as well when I realize how late it is. So for this category, we have all brought a game that we have nominated because there's no use in deciding on a time sink game.
Yeah,
it
right.
was a personal experience thing.
Well, technically, they're not nominations. They're our own awards.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Who wants to start it off? Angus?
Sure, why not? So I'll kick it off with my runner-up because I had one. Obviously, I had a winner, but my runner-up to that was Hades, which I know you're a huge fan of. Did you guys get around to playing this at all?
No. You know
Okay.
what? I don't think it's a game that is for me, despite how much people love it.
Yeah, okay.
I just know that it's something that I won't enjoy as much. And I don't want to go into it with a hype of it being so many people's game of the year and
Fair
then being
enough.
disappointed.
Totally.
So it's just something that I appreciate that other people love.
I think that is hilarious considering what your time sink of the year is.
That is true.
That you're like, I just don't think I'll like this game.
Shut up, Nicholas.
We'll get to that one, but Hades, obviously a roguelike, you're doing waves, you're going through, and it's really hard to put down.
Yes.
And in that sense, it's hard to come back from a run. You've got upgrades, you've got currency to spend, you've got characters that you've met or unlocked that then sort of push you really well into another run. It's just a hard game to put down. I have not beaten Hades. I've gotten up to him and fought him a couple of times, but it's strange that doesn't really bother me because I enjoy the process of getting there. And it is a lengthy one. Like for this category, it gets you there, like sometimes it's like 40 minutes or something as a run to get to the final boss, depending on detours you take and stuff. So yeah, playing it on Switch, really love everything else about it, but just did not expect to be coming back to it with this kind of like draw.
And I would just say, because it is also my runner-up, so I may as well just bring it up now,
Sure,
that I agree that, and I think that the brilliance of it beyond every single part of the game, that is that the drip feed of the little upgrades, it doesn't make you do too many runs before you can buy something significant that helps you. And like those different weapons, the upgrades to those weapons radically change how you play. So I feel like you get to the end of like a 30-minute run and then you go, oh, I can meaningfully change that next run. And that they have perfectly balanced that, which I think is why I just kept getting sucked back into those runs.
Totally. So yeah, a lot of time in that. Sorry.
I was just going to say, how long would you say your play sessions are of it? Like, can you play it for like hours at a time?
Yeah, I'd play it for like 2 runs at a time, which would sometimes be like 80 minutes or something.
Okay.
So yeah, solid amount of time. However, my winner of this category, the one I sunk the most time into by far, was of course Call of Duty Warzone, which technically came out this year. It came out at the start of the year,
Unbelievable.
which is crazy because not only the amount of hours I've whiled away in this must be just astronomical. But of course, I really enjoyed Warzone. Specifically, I loved playing Plunder, which was a mode I played with my mates. For anyone who doesn't know,
I was
essentially...
just about to ask, who are you playing with?
some old Melbourne mates of mine who we used to play COD multiplayer, but we used to play regular deathmatch, which is over quite fast, which is quite frenetic, and whereas Warzone, more specifically Plunder, Warzone is you can, what is it? Battle Royale is, what do they call theirs? I guess
Warzone.
That's
Warzone Battle Royale,
Yep.
which is you can spend a long time hiding, and you can go in quickly and die and have to keep restarting the game.
Or you can get 25 kills.
Or you can do that as well. Sure, I'm not good enough to do that. Plunder is wonderful because it gives you this huge map. It's the whole of Verdansk, which is the massive Warzone map, but you are playing with respawns. Your goal is to collect cash through kills or through pickups, through raiding boxes and doing objectives. So it's objective-based while there are multiple squads all fighting together. There's long enough draw distance to the combat where you all sort of can say, we've spotted someone, do we want to engage, do we want to change our tactics? So it's the most tactfully I've ever played a COD game. But if we want to just get messy and jump in fights and mess up other people's runs, you can do that. If you all die, you then get moved somewhere on the map, but if one of you stays alive, you can all keep parachuting in on them, so there's this kind of rotation, and you're all kind of getting really hectic as you're like, stay alive, we're all going to come in after you, we've got 20 seconds. It's just led to some of my favorite moments this year in gaming, and I will go back to it more and more, and I love new multiplayer modes that change up ways that you can play online with people. Battle Royale was one, and now this feels like an evolution.
That's awesome, and I feel like for a time sync game, it often is linked to multiplayer games that you can spend with friends, and it's nice that that there's a game that you've been playing with a specific group of friends that you don't get to see in real life that often.
Yeah, and it's been a really wonderful way to catch up with them and play with them, and all sorts of memes and jokes and stuff we've made throughout the year. We know this map like the back of our hands. It's just, it's a wonderful mode to play because it's like they are longish sessions as well. No one really burns out. Couple of little squabbles this year. Few times we've all said, well, I'm leaving, good night. And someone will leave and you're like, oh, it's a very formal, polite way to leave. But overall, I should go and check my hours, but heaps of hours in that. I will continue now that season 1 of Cold War is going to bring a new map and some other stuff.
And the Battle Pass.
And the Battle Pass
which
as
is
well.
like even more reason to suck you in.
Yep, so it will be probably my one next year as well. So COD Warzone is my time sink of the year.
Nice.
Work. Do you guys want to go next?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're saying us because you know that we've chosen the same game.
I do, yeah. Because I feel like I've seen both of you. Every time I go onto Steam, I know both those icons are there. The little green person is highlighted next to this game. Steph, do you want to start off with your runner-up? And then Pete runner-up, and then you can, if you have them, and then go to the winner?
Sure. Yeah, I feel like my runner-up is Ghost of Tsushima. I spent a lot of time in that game, and I really, really loved it. I feel like it doesn't really fit into any of the other categories for me because, I don't know, it's just there's been so many great games this year, and it's really hard, and I just really want to give it a shout-out because I did spend a lot of time in it, way more than I thought I would. I didn't get to finish it, unfortunately. Maybe I'll go back to it one day, but I just loved it, and I think it was a big time sink because it was a big open-world game that really encouraged you to just keep exploring and covering off the map, but also the photo mode was so beautiful that I spent half my hours in that game just taking pictures of stuff, and I was like so excited to share them. It's like, when someone comes back from a holiday and you just are not really interested in their holiday photos. I was like that with Ghost of Tsushima screenshots.
Yeah.
Just be like, guys, look at this one, and this is one. It's the same photo but with a different filter.
Parts of the Discord exist because of you.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful game that I spent a lot of time in.
Did you get into the Legends expansion?
No. I think I probably still will, just once everything calms down a little bit. It's just this sort of push towards the end of the year got really intense game-wise, but yeah. But I think the game that was the biggest time sink for me, us, was...
I got to do my runner-up first.
Oh, you're going to do your runner-up first.
My runner-up was Dota 2. Surprise. It's surprising because it's my runner-up and not my actual time sink. That's the reason it's a surprise. I have eclipsed 3,500 hours in Dota 2.
Woof.
This last 12 months, probably 1,000 of them at least, maybe 1,500. But I ebb and flow with Dota. And I think most Dota players do. They go through like really hardcore patches and then realize that they're destroying their lives and then just cool off on it a little bit. And for me, most of the ebb and flow, at least for the past 5 years, has been reasonably in sync with the International.
Yeah.
The International, obviously the biggest prize pool for an esports tournament in the world, and continually ups itself because everyone pays to see that prize pool get bigger through the compendium in the system. And so with that yearly compendium, that fundraising for the prize pool, comes a bunch of new content and challenges within the game that encourage you to play the game in different ways. And and that's always kind of where I get that lift back in. And then the international happens, and it's exciting seeing the pros play, and then trying to, well, at least in pub matches, someone's trying to replicate the play that like Seb made or whatever like that. So it's like the meta changes while the international's happening. So it's a really exciting time to be playing.
And they put out a bunch of like the battle pass and the skins and the content and stuff that's all built around like getting you hyped back into the game.
Yeah, and so that's like the stuff that comes with the compendium that is increasing the prize pool that you purchase in them. Yeah, but no international this year, and it felt like, I felt like coming into the international is where I'm usually in the trough, and that's where I kind of get lifted back up in. The compendium existed, money was raised. Again, I think the prize pool was eclipsed. Yeah, it was. It's the biggest prize pool to not be in a tournament at the moment. It's going to the international tournament will happen, but when, they don't know.
It's the Celeste Barber prize pool.
Absolutely. So that kind of like was I was ramping up, and without the tournament, I kind of started coming up and dropped right back down, and that's because I found another game to sink my time into with you, Steph, and that's Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
And that's our time sink.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know how this happened. I think it was just a weird, specific set of circumstances in that I think Peter had been playing it and having a good time with it, which means nothing because he plays a lot of Dota and I have no interest in that. But honestly, it was
your enjoyment means nothing.
The idea of playing it with you guys is what got me amped for it, which never ended up happening. I was like, this is going to be something that we all play together. And so I downloaded it because the sort of base game is free. And then, I knew that there were a few Pocketeers that were playing it. So I was like, all right, well, while I wait for you guys to get your shit together, then I'll just kind of start leveling up because I knew that you'd played a bit of it already. And I think it was just that, and I've spoken about this before, I've just never really had like a super solid group of friends to play online with, I think, and aligned with the kinds of games that I like or the kind of experiences that I'd like to have in a game. I should be more specific about, because I think I feel like I don't shoot well enough to play competitive shooters, which pretty much rules out all battle royales or like COD or anything like that. It's just something that I find too stressful, and I don't want to let the team down, and I'm like scared of just being a potato. But Destiny has what?
Potato? I've not heard potato. I know it's a thing that people are saying now, but I've only ever heard potato as like, oh, you've got a potato instead of a PC. Like if your computer runs like shit, it's like you got a potato PC.
Oh no!
But I've never heard potato as like a you suck at the thing.
You're just
You're just a potato.
You're as useful in the team as a potato.
But okay, the language changes. That's fine. But this is a shit change to language because an anchor makes sense. You're dragging. You're making the team drag you.
And all the kids are saying bot these days.
Yeah, totally. But also, to be fair, if we were in a gunfight and I handed my gun to a potato, it wouldn't do a lot.
That's true.
It would probably hinder my ability to survive.
Beside the point, I've had so much fun playing Destiny. I feel like it's the perfect blend of sci-fi and fantasy for me. I think that for me to spend a lot of time in a game, I really have to enjoy the world, which is another reason why I'm not interested in most military shooters, because I don't really like spending time in an actual realistic war zone. But Destiny is just so beautiful. Some of the raids we've done are just spectacular. I share a lot of screenshots of them as well because they're just, I had no idea that it was such a beautiful game.
Yeah.
And
the fashion and the like character customization and stuff.
Yeah, and it's also, I feel like I never really got into Halo because it felt like a game for men. Like you know what I mean? It was
still was grounded in that military, like,
and
an
Master Chief was just this like massive like idolized character for dudes, and I get that Cortana existed in that world, as his whatever, but like, sorry, Halo fans.
I'm one of them, and I agree. Like Cortana was a strong character, and Catherine Halsey was the creator of the AI and the Spartan program, and and they had strong women in there, but Cortana was like made to be a sex bot, basically. She happened to be a powerful be a powerful ally because she was like the brains of the operation, but it was like Her boobs got bigger over every release.
But in the world of Destiny, women are everywhere and they're on equal footing with men. It feels like a world that is actually populated by men and women.
Yeah, totally.
Which I wouldn't say for Halo.
And I would also say that the women are quite varied in Destiny in terms of there are some who are that sort of like total hard-ass military, like I'm a commander, that sort of thing. And then there are some that have like light shade personality. Like it's not that thing of like, oh, we've just taken a man but we've put a woman body on here. Like we've gone, oh no, there are different shades to humans, so they have tried to incorporate that.
So obviously, as you're saying, like a lot of it is the aesthetic of it as well as the gameplay that has meant that you've spent so many hours playing this game as well. Pete, is that what's different about that for you in terms of why are you spending so much time in this game?
Probably the MMO loop. The grind. Like I like the gunplay is fantastic. Bungie always do good gunplay, and the content is like good enough. The raids are great.
Yeah.
The raids are fantastic.
And that's been a motivator for both of you over the couple of weeks. It's like watching you build your way up to a raid.
It's really fun.
That's been a reason to like invest your time into it.
And I feel like I'm never going to be great, but I feel myself getting better, and that's really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel myself like doing runs of the raid where I'm more effective than I was the time before, and that's like a really cool feeling. And also, it's just so fun. Like I've laughed so much, and in this year when I haven't been able to see people in real life as much, I've just really valued being able to spend time in this beautiful place with other people and just like joke and laugh. And
Also, I will just very quickly, I will say that thing about getting better in a game, it's one of those things that I feel like only really happens in multiplayer games, because you can get better in a single player game, but generally you're getting better because they have ramped the difficulty and you are just along for that ride.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the game, you're feeling great, but it's like, well, yeah, because you started me off slow. The idea of like, you can jump into a raid now and be like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Or you can jump into multiplayer or whatever, and you go, oh, I'm seeing that this is still as difficult as it was when I started playing this, but my results are way better. That's a really satisfying.
To have that as the goal to be heading towards as well, and going, if I jumped in now without putting the time in, I might fail miserably or spend a lot more time on it. And you have this benchmark that you can keep coming back to through the raids and use it as a test of your own kind of like skill set.
yeah,
Like,
totally.
yeah, a nice thing to have in a game versus just you're continually going up that path to the ending.
Yeah, and just having like people that are just cool with you being there learning because they're just happy to share the world with you and they're excited that you're excited. Like that's just been really nice.
Yeah, and there's something really nice about, because it's a like shared world shooter kind of thing. It's like it's not all competitive, where a lot of shooters are just all competitive. It's a very cooperative shooter. Whether you're just in like a 3-person fire team, and because you get daily challenges or weekly challenges that are worth doing for everyone, there's no pressure to be the best in the world, because it's just about the way that the loot drops is just about completing these things, and that just encourages you to play it heaps. You know, the people that we're playing with play it like fucking crazy, and like they just need to run the thing 50 times, and they'll run it with whoever, and it's just nice for them to be able to run it with people that they know and can talk to.
Totally.
So it's like we get to just jump in with them and be one of the 50 raids that they did that week. But it's
50 is an exaggeration.
It is, yeah. It's more like 30. Because they got to run it 10 times on their 3 different characters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the point is that they get to. The experience of doing the raid doesn't necessarily change that much once you know it that well, but the experience of playing it with different people is part of what I'm enjoying about Destiny. Is like, oh, we haven't done this together before, and it's like, yeah, I found a groove on how, I've done a 45-minute run of the raid with you and like the team that we've done it with a lot, but it's like, oh, there's a new person coming, and it's
Or
they're
GOG.
doing the raid for the first time.
GOG from Good Game we've been playing with a lot. It's
Totally.
nice.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like watching people learn is fun in Destiny. Even for us who haven't been playing that long, it's like as soon as someone new is in there, it's just fun to experience it again through them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Destiny is really effective like that.
That's so funny that both of you fell down this hole. It's great. It's such
It's
a good,
weird
it's such
too
a good
because
game,
we've
but
never
yeah.
really played games much together.
Yeah.
So it's weird to
nice.
be having like, we don't play Destiny together 100% of the time, but we do like quite often,
Yeah.
and that's nice too.
I love it. I love it. A worthy time sink. Okay, so me rounding out this category, my one of my runners up, Hades, which we've spoken about very quickly. My other runner up, something that I wasn't expecting the same way you weren't expecting to get in Destiny 2, COD, Black Ops, Cold War multiplayer. So not the Warzone, but the multiplayer. I spoke about this on the show a couple of weeks ago, but I've been putting a fair amount of time into that and have been very surprised that I've been doing that.
How close to Prestige?
I am 46,
Okay.
and so 55 is prestige. I probably won't. I wanted to, but I probably won't get there before like tonight, which is when season 1 drops.
I believe in you.
But that's fine. I've made my peace with that. But I will continue. I will get the battle pass and continue going. I've just been really surprised at how much, not only that I'm quite good at it, comparative to how I feel about myself with shooters, but that I'm also finding myself wanting to get back into it all the time. I think that very short loop is the thing that's keeping me in it, as opposed, and we've spoken about it, as opposed to Battle Royale, where I find there's a lot of downtime, just being able to just die, repeat, die, repeat, die, repeat. And when I get on a run, yeah, I've just been loving it and just picking up a game, playing for 5 minutes. I've even had some friggin' meetings with some PR agencies that have gone on for a little too long, and while we're on that call, I just boot up a game of COD and I just play.
Speaking of just the quick short loop, have you been playing much of the Nuketown map? Because it comes along in every
Yes.
COD or every,
Yep.
and that is like the most. It's terribly created in the sense that it's super condensed. There's too many people shooting each other. It's just chaos, but it typifies those quick round
Yeah.
modes of playing COD, and I just love going to. It's just a playlist where you just play Nuketown all the time.
Yeah, no, Nuketown's good, and we spoke about this Satellite being such a terrible map, but as I've been playing, and particularly went home last night after that charity stream, played a few rounds, and I'm learning in Satellite the little points in the map where I can be most effective, and suddenly like hiding behind this rock outage that I found that gave me like a clear view of like the 3 key points, get a sniper rifle, and suddenly I was like, oh, I popped off like 12 kills without dying, and I was like, oh, this is how I can take advantage of this map now. So yeah, very satisfying.
Nice.
But my winner for the time sink, it's not the game I've actually put the most time into, but it's the most amount of time I put in a short amount of time, and that is Immortals Phoenix Rising. It is my time sink because I finished this game in about 5 days and put in 25 hours. So roughly 5 hours a day. I do not play video games like this anymore, and when I do have this amount of dedicated video game time, I'm often bouncing between games. But Immortals for me, I didn't necessarily expect it coming, but it was the idea of I really like the world. I really like how quickly you get powers, how quickly you get access to like the full suite of weapons and stuff. Even though it's a map filled with just icons, which normally I don't like in these kind of open worlds, a lot of those icons were go into this tomb and do this thing, or like interact with the world in an interesting way, not just like open up a chest. And I just found that thing of like, anytime I sat down, I was like, what do I want to play? Actually, I want to play this. And I know that the reason that this has actually been, and I was like, I put so much time into it. When I've been playing Cyberpunk going, I really wish I was playing Immortals right now. Like, I really wish that I was in this world that is just so like positive. And even though a lot of the jokes are dumb, it's
I've heard more
sweet.
people say the writing gets worse and worse as you get past that initial humor or that style of humor.
Yeah, but it's
yeah.
like, it's endearingly dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, there's nothing massively offensive about it. It's just like, it's just a sweet game. And I do think that the relationship you have with the 4 gods that you interact with is it's not necessarily a deep relationship, but I love the ways they've themed the worlds around them and the things that you do. So yeah, it was just like such a satisfying loop, and I found myself just doing way more. And I guess why it's my time sink is like, when I approach these open world games, I'm often like, okay, I'm just going to mainline the story, because if I get distracted with the side quests, I'm never going to finish this. And this was something where I got distracted with all the side quests, and I didn't want to finish the main story because I was like, okay, I want to do all the stuff here. And I just feel like the game was really built around pulling me through all of its content and not just its main story and trying to distract me with a bunch of other stuff. So
It's interesting that obviously, as you said, you've collectively 25, 30 hours, but that feels like a lot more to you as you're putting it in this category.
Oh,
It's
totally, yeah.
In a satisfying way, it feels probably like you've played it for 60 hours in a sort of dense way that's like it drew your attention back in and kept you going to play.
and even there are single player games that came out this year that were longer that I finished, but I finished over a longer period of time. This was really like a genuinely condensed, like it consumed my life for a week. And while that doesn't necessarily like feel like a time sink, for me, that was like, oh, I'm making some real choices to be in this as opposed to anything else. And I have not played a game like that this year in the same way. So
nice.
that's my time sink for the year. So that is Warzone Plunder, Destiny 2, and Immortals Phoenix Rising. What is your time sink for the year? What has kept you up until... Fuck.
That could be it. Fuck, what time is it? Where am I? What am I playing?
Let us know in the comments, and we will see you again tomorrow, unless it's a weekend, with another award.
Or if it's... No, we'll see you on Christmas.